reason for that. And my grandmother was a minister of music as well. And so, um, I always start with that, the church people and educators, because that's where I was taught to give a life of service.
Mm,
That's where I was taught that it's bigger than me. It's not about me. It's about what I can do to help others. And so I'm truly grateful to have been blessed to be in a situation to learn from amazing people in my family of that. And about 8 years ago, I started my YouTube channel and podcast, Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life and
love
share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation, and try to help them live an audacious life.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
And then about 6 years ago, I was throwing one back at you.
I
And then
got
about
you.
6 years ago,
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our goal is to inspire and empower our listeners to live their best audacious lives ever. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. Now, just like climbing a mountain, living an audacious life involves facing challenges, navigating through valleys, and reaching new heights. It's about taking risks, learning from experiences, and helping others on the journey to greatness. In today's episode, we dive into these concepts with our special guest, Chip Baker. He's a fourth-generation educator and former coach with a passion of inspiring individuals to live their best lives. With over 26 years of experience in education and a successful podcast, The Success Chronicles, Chip has dedicated his life to motivating and uplifting others. His journey of overcoming challenges, finding success through adversity, and inspiring others align perfectly with the theme of living audaciously. His experiences, insights will surely motivate and encourage our listeners on their own path to greatness. So now that we've got you all set, let's jump into our conversation with Chip. Enjoy. Hey, Chip, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. It is a treat and a delight to have you here, my friend. Thank you for doing this.
it's my pleasure. It's always a treat when the good guys get to meet.
I love it.
Let's go.
I love it. No,
Let's go.
I hear you. And I mean, the whole idea, I mean, here on this podcast, the mission, I can't make it any plainly more clear what we want to achieve, what we want to accomplish, and is helping individuals live their best audacious life. And, what that looks like is not going to be the same for everyone. Our path is individualized, but it's still our path nonetheless, regardless of the challenges, the adversities, the challenges, tribulations that are on that. We gotta push through and fight through those adversities. And so,
Yeah.
because on the other side of that's where all the greatness lies. I truly, truly believe that. It's a matter of just going out and getting it. Speaking of going out and getting it, that's what you live by, right? You like the way I dropped that, eh? You like that?
Hey, I like that, man. I like that. I
going out,
love it.
going out and get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Chip. You spent a lot of time in the similar space, with a similar type of message, and so maybe as a starting point, we can get you to talk to our audience a little bit, explain about who you are, what you do, and what's brought you to the point that you're at now.
Yeah, man. So first, I am Chip Baker. I'm a fourth generation educator, a teacher, a former coach. I'm in my 26th year in education, and I coached for 20 of those years. I tell people this, deal. I come from a family of church folk and
Nice.
educators, and church folk with no S means that we were in church a lot. And my mother, because of that, my mother was the minister of music in our churches, and that was the reason for that. And my grandmother was a minister of music as well. And so, um, I always start with that, the church people and educators, because that's where I was taught to give a life of service.
Mm,
That's where I was taught that it's bigger than me. It's not about me. It's about what I can do to help others. And so I'm truly grateful to have I've been blessed to be in a situation to learn from amazing people in my family of that. And about 8 years ago, I started my YouTube channel and podcast, Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation, and try to help them live an audacious life.
Love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
And then about 6 years ago, I was throwing one back at you.
I
And then
got
about
you.
6 years ago, uh, I started writing books, and
Yeah.
to the date, I've been a part of 22 books, and a few of those have been bestsellers. And it's been a great journey. It's been a true
Mhm.
blessing. It's
Yeah.
truly far surpassed anything I ever thought it would be, and I'm so grateful for every ounce of it. Um, and it's done
Um,
two things for me. It's allowed me to be humble
mhm.
because of the great things that have happened, but then it's also shown me that, man, great things are possible, right?
Mhm.
And it's made me hungry, right? So, I'm humble and hungry, and grateful at the same time.
I love it. I love it. I
Yes,
love it.
sir.
So thank you for sharing. First and foremost, again, there's so much that you can take from someone's, quote unquote origin story, if you will, in terms of what got them going and
Mm-hmm.
where they came from. And it's interesting, I've talked to a whole host of people,
Yeah.
and oftentimes, you'll hear individuals, they'll have this story of maybe a traumatic upbringing or a troubled past, or maybe they went through a serious accident or something that got them to where they're at, and that's driven them to want to make a difference in others' lives. Uh, but those aren't the only things that can fuel and drive us. We might come from an upbringing that didn't have those things, but that doesn't mean our mission is any less important. And certainly,
Yes.
hearing what's driven you. I mean, it's in your lineage, right? This is what I'm hearing. This is what the Bakers do. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is equally as powerful that you're continuing this legacy. Having said that, was there a moment that you kind of like woke up and said, now is time, here's what I'm going to do? Or what did your sort of moment of realization look like? Or was it something you always knew you were going to do?
Well, no, I've had to learn and grow into it. Um, I think the beauty of it is, I think I'm gonna just go back a little bit and just say this. None of us are immune from growing through tough things and tough challenges.
You got it.
Yeah, growing through. And so what we have to do is um, find the blessings and the lessons, if you will, and then take what you've learned and then use that to be a blessing to help others. And when we can get in that space, oh man, it's so good.
Mhm,
Like it's
mhm.
it's so good when you see that the challenges that you've had to grow through, the good and the bad things that you've had to learn, not winning and losing, but winning and learning, right? When you can take those things that you learn from that and then put it together and make it your thing, and then use that to help others. That's what it is. And so there's been some pivotal moments in my life. I share stories all the time, like about my family,
Mhm.
people, saying how much they made a difference in their life. That inspired me to give service.
Right.
There's been some moments where, I've had tough challenges in my life, and sometimes we were in situations where you just got to figure it out, right?
That's it.
FIO, figure it out. And
I love it.
so when we do that, it's so good to take those things that we learned and know that what we grow through is not in vain.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you put it in a space to where you just can give that, my thing is go get it, right?
Yeah.
But it's even better when you can go give it.
Mm, I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I also like the very humble and cool way you talk about going through or growing through your
Hmm.
challenges.
Yeah.
Uh, we know that these things aren't easy. We
Hmm.
know that they're tough. We know that they shake us in the moment. What
Yeah.
is the key? Because again, these are easier words to say than to actually do.
Yeah.
So, what's the key? Are there one or two things that, people need to bear in mind or people need to do to kind of give themselves a chance to grow through these situations?
Yeah, I think it's two things. And this is one thing that I always share with people that are going through tough challenges and even ask myself as well, when I'm in tough challenges. First off, um, what am I learning from this experience?
Hmm.
That's the first thing because every opportunity is an opportunity to learn and get better.
Yeah.
And then the second piece is how can I use this to help me be better, but then help me be better so that I can help others be better.
There's that service,
Right.
eh? There's that service
That's the
coming back.
that's
Yeah.
that's the service piece of it. And
Mm,
so, I believe that, on the other side of our toughest challenges is our maximum growth.
mm.
Right. And so it's not a bad day. It's just a bad moment in that
Yes.
day, right? And so if I just continue to step, just take one step, right?
Yep.
And then before you know it, taking a few other steps, and then before you know it, I'm power walking, right? And then before you know it, I got a little jog with me, and then before you know it, I'm sprinting to that audacious living life
Mm,
to make a positive difference in the life of others. And it all started with taking that one step in those tough challenges,
you got it.
figuring out what I can learn from it, and then figuring out how I can use that to help others.
As you talked about that step, there's an image that comes to mind, and it's an analogy I've probably used on this podcast 1,000 times, but it never
Hmm.
gets old in terms of what it does in terms from a framing standpoint. And it's that life is a continuum. It's a hill of hills and valleys, right?
Yeah.
So on the top of that hill, things are fantastic. They're great. There's happiness, there's joy, there's fulfillment, there's satisfaction.
Yeah.
All the things that we really truly want in life is at the top of that hill. But as we go through life, Chip, we kind of get those dips. This is a natural function of life. And we get those dips when we're
Hmm.
down that valley. And that's where things like the pain and disappointment and discomfort, that's where those things exist. Now, when we're in that valley, we've got a choice. We can stay there and continue to be miserable and upset and hurt and resentful and all the negative things, or find a way to get back to that, find a way to get you on that path to get you to the top of the hill as quickly as you can. And so when I talk to people, I always say, I always encourage them to recognize, yeah, you feel bad in the moment. Don't pretend that it's not there. We're human. Our feelings are our feelings. Our emotions are emotions. What you can't do is stay there. You can't stay there, because by staying there, you don't give yourself a chance to get back to that top of the hill again.
I love that so much. I'll take it personal. Like I'll just go personal with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, over the last and I'll share this with you too, a vulnerable moment. Coming up, my mother passed about 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and her birthday's coming up
Um,
soon. So, it's in the times of reflecting, thinking about the good times and all of those things. But over about like a 13-year period, man, I've lost four of my starting five.
mm,
Mom, dad, grandfather, grandmother,
mm,
right? And along those times, it's been some amazing things that have happened as well.
yeah.
So, doing some great things in my career.
Yep.
Found out that my grandfather had a stroke, you know, teacher of the year, on my
Mm,
campus. Grandfather passes,
mm,
next year, during the football season, dad gets sick. We're having a good season, dad gets sick,
mm,
found out he has cancer, teacher of the year again the next
yeah.
year, like,
Yep.
and so there's peaks and valleys along the same way, but
Yes.
along the whole journey. But what we have to do is have some core common principles and
Yeah.
remain consistent
Yes.
along those peaks and valleys. And that's how we have that continued growth. And for me, It's been, hanging on to my firm faith foundation. For me, it's been showing up. For me, it's been having a great attitude. For
Mm,
me, it's been giving my all. For me, it's been doing things the right way. For me, it's been, work hard, man. Work hard on everything you do. And so, what that allows me to do is have consistency in
yeah,
my life,
yeah,
right? And what consistency does is it builds trust.
yeah,
Others around you trust you because they know that you're money, right? You're
yeah.
consistent. But along the peaks and the valleys, you're consistent. It's gonna do that. But the other thing it does though is it shows you that you can trust yourself uh to continue to grow through those peaks and valleys,
Mm.
uh and continue to do great things because you have some things in place and you've already been through some tough stuff.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. It's funny, Chip. I'm certain that there were people listening, and so when you talk about trusting yourself, not
Mm,
fully understanding what that means. Like, I mean, if
mhm.
like, we know ourselves, we live ourselves every day. What do you mean I can't trust myself? Explain when you talk about what you're referring to.
When I say trusting yourself,
Mhm.
that means, are you living up on a day-to-day basis by your actions? Are you living up to that to be the person that you want to be down the road? Right. And what I mean by that is I can't say, man, I want to have straight A's, but when I get home, I'm not doing my homework.
Mm,
I'm not doing the extra exercises. I can't say, man, I want to bench press 3 plates, 315, 3 cookies on that boy, right? But
mm,
I don't want to go in the weight room and work out, right?
mm,
Like
mm.
it don't jive
Right,
up, right?
right,
And
right.
so when you are consistent with putting in the work to do those things, you'll eventually get to where you want to get, but you show yourself that you can do great things,
Mm,
and it allows you to push yourself. It allows you to give yourself that positive self-talk. It allows you to encourage yourself,
yep.
because it's going to be sometimes in your life who when you're the only person that believe in what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to push through then and still make it happen, right? And when you learn to do that, man, you become so proud of yourself because you show yourself that you can do great things.
Mm. Yeah, no, even that image of coming to that point of realization where like we all have that greatness inside of us, right?
Hmm.
Every single one of us has that
Yeah.
greatness inside, but we don't all recognize that it's there. And sometimes it gets revealed through maybe life circumstances. Maybe we stumble by accident. Maybe we're actually looking and being conscious and intentional, and we uncover it. There's a variety of different ways, but one thing, regardless, but all the different pathways to get to that point of realization, the one thing that is absolutely for certain and sure is that when you get there, you feel like a whole other person. You feel like unstoppable. You feel like you're at a next level, and life can begin now because now I'm equipped and I'm ready to go. And it's just a powerful, powerful place to reach once you get there.
Oh man, and I'm not, and not to be, because I'm not to be too like fake, but like in my church, man, there's a yes prayer that my pastor says at the end of
Okay.
his sermons,
Okay.
right? And there's a statement in that prayer that says, "I'm a new creation in Christ because I said yes to you,"
Mm,
right? And so I'm gonna break that even down. Said yes.
yeah.
Man, when we say yes, right, it opens us up to limitless possibilities, right? Right. Let me tell you, who's the only person that can hold us back from achieving, doing, being, seeing whatever it is we want to do in our life?
Us.
Us, right? So if you limit yourself, you limit yourself,
That's right.
right? And so it's important that we don't limit ourselves, and understand that by saying yes, it opens us up to the possibilities to doing things that we never ever thought we could do in our life. And I can say that because I'm the evidence and the research of that right now. Right? Like I'm not giving you fluff.
Right,
Like I
right.
mean, like I've lived that, right?
That's
I
right.
said yes to doing things the right way and making sacrifices and prioritizing and having balance and saying no because it sets me up to say yes for the things that's important to me.
Yes,
Right?
I love
And
it.
so, I mean, so many great things happen in your life when you just say yes.
Right, right, right. And say and say it and mean it, right? Not just a okay,
Oh,
fine, yes, fine, whatever. It's like no,
and
like
and
grass,
live
go
it
get it. Yeah.
and live it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
so on that go get it, right? That's your tagline,
That's
right?
my thing.
Tell me the meaning behind that and how you landed on that as your mantra.
So, I'll start now, then I'll go back.
Okay.
So I believe that no significant man, I believe that no significant success
Mhm.
is gonna come to you. I believe that you have to go get it and
Mm,
make it happen. Right. And so when you do that, it's just like saying yes. But let's go back. So I've always had self-talk, right? You know, in high schools, up your game, you know, let's got to get better, college. When I got out of college, um, I set some pretty lofty goals.
mhm,
Want to have my master's by this age, want to be married, want to have kids by this age, want to have, like, I set my life goals, um, then so I can have that audacious living then so I could so I could do that in my life at that moment, right?
right,
So
right,
then the self-talk became, hey man, go get it, go make it happen, right? Like every day, like go, like I hear what you're saying, but are you backing what you're saying with actions? Right?
right.
Go get it. And so what happened is once I started coaching, like it started coming out. Like I would say it to my guy, hey, let's go get it. I would say it to my athletes, and then like they would start saying it back to me. Right. And then it just became a thing. And like now we have it on t-shirts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
hats and merch and
Right.
and that's just my thing, man. And like I'm not just saying go get it. Like I'm striving to live, go get it each moment of each day.
Mm, mm. There's a certain aspect of courageousness
Hmm.
that's involved in order to
Yes,
go get
sir.
it, right?
Yes,
Because
sir.
we all have things that hold us back, that cause us to doubt ourselves, whether they're fear. You hear this thing called the imposter syndrome that has people
Hmm.
thinking they're not worthy. Um, Maybe there's doubts that comes from other people's. That's in the back of our
Right.
heads. Childhood traumas. There's a whole host of things that will line themselves up and be that last line of defense is not letting us go get it, right? The piece of courageousness or having the courage to go get it, I think is an important aspect of this. I don't know if you could talk about just the significance of just being courageous in our actions.
Oh yeah. A few years back in the mental health space, uh, researchers did, lots of research on, what caused certain behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
or why do people behave in certain manners and those things. And the word ACEs came about, adverse childhood experiences,
Okay.
right? And so, all of us have, experiences or things where we felt like, we may be at a disadvantage or
Right.
something happened or
Mm-hmm.
experience, all of us have those things, right? But the whole premise of me saying that is because um, I want the audience to understand that our ace can be someone's saving grace.
Mm. Our ace can be someone's saving grace. I
Your
love that.
your ace can be someone's saving grace, and what I mean by that is the things that we've had to go through in our life. Um, we have to take those things and know that they are of value.
Hmm.
You are of value. When you give that to someone, it adds tremendous value. So
Sure.
now we have to have the courage each moment of each day to give that to people, to
Yes.
share that with people. And I'm telling you, like, it'll light you on fire when you can do that. And it all starts with you taking a step, one step today, to be courageous, to go get it and share, because it's bigger than just any one person.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I'm a big fan of the sharing. I gotta tell you, Chip. You know, the taking. It's like, so I go through something. Let me frame this for you, because this is how huge this
Mhm.
is. Like,
Yeah.
I go through an experience. Maybe it was debilitating. Maybe it rocked my world. You know, maybe it did things I never thought it could do. So I go through that experience, and regardless I got through it or not, that's not really the main point. But on the other side of that experience, I've got something in hand, and those are lessons. Whether they're lessons on how to do it because I was successful, or lessons what not to do because I wasn't successful, but I know how to do better the next time. And so now I take these lessons, and an innocent bystander that has no idea what's coming, I say, hey, take this, and here's what it'll do for you. And because I'm able to take those experiences, they bypass that altogether and reach levels that I never reached because of my assistance. That's huge.
Man, let me show you this. This experience just happened to me yesterday, and I don't
Okay.
know if you can. Let me wipe my phone's dirty, but I gotta show you this.
Okay. Okay.
I gotta show you this, brother. Put it in that light. I saw all the smudges on it, so I don't know if you can see that in the camera there.
Yeah, as you holding a baby.
That's me holding a baby with a young man that's right beside me.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the camera, that's me holding a baby with the young man right beside me. And so, what you just explained was exactly that. So, let me go back. I was raised with a single parent mom. Father was in my life, but was from afar. So there's some things that you experience as a single parent kid that's, tough,
Yes.
adverse childhood
Mm.
experiences,
Hmm.
right? There's some things that you see that you still don't talk about as an adult because it was tough, adverse
Hmm.
childhood experiences, right? There's some things that you have to go through, um, with confidence, building your own confidence, working through certain things, and you learn some certain things. And so then I did that, and throughout college, then I became a teacher and coach. There was this kid, um, that I met at this football camp, that I was working at the school where I was. He
Hmm.
was like fifth or sixth grade. Um, People that were around couldn't say his name because his name was, pretty difficult to pronounce.
Hmm.
But I know, as a family, your name is important. Your
Absolutely.
name means everything.
Yes.
Adverse childhood experiences, right? And so I took it upon myself. I said, "Hey, how do you say your name?" And he said it for me. I'll say his name. Faridafar is his name, right? And he said, "I'm looking at his mouth, right? Okay, I'll have that down tomorrow." So then the next day, I said, "Hey, what's up, Farida Far, man? Good to see you." Right. And so from that day, I knew his name, and I would say his name, and I would see him. Fast forward, that kid went to, the junior high, where, that fed into the high school where I coached. He played ball there. Fast forward, went to the high school where I coached. I ended up being one of his coaches in high school.
Yeah.
Coached him in football and in powerlifting. Was a very good athlete.
Yeah.
Was a super strong lifter. We went to the regionals, and powerlifting was the most success I've had. We took several athletes, to the regionals with that team. Great guys. Fast
Mhm.
forward, that guy's father passed a few years after he graduated high school.
Wow.
I was able to help him, get on. I was a head coach. Then I moved to a
Hmm.
different school, my hometown. I was able to help him get on as a teacher coach for a little bit.
Okay.
Fast forward, just rock with me here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta just rock with me on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fast forward from there, He and I moved back to the area where we are now. Um, I go to a different school where I'm teaching and coaching. He decides to go into business where he eventually, on the fast track, he's a hard worker, great guy, becomes a manager, supervisor at this very nice restaurant in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Always takes care of my family, looks
I
out for
love it.
coach.
Yeah.
Um, Fast forward, I have a son now that's in high school. That guy hires or is, integral in hiring my son to have his very first job. And that guy is now the mentor to my son. And that guy loves my son because I loved him. Fast forward, the guy on the picture that I showed you was that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He and his wife just had their first kid a couple of days ago.
Beautiful.
And so I shared that story with you because I want you to know that it's important to take the step, to have the courage to help others. When he was a young guy, I didn't know that all these things were going to happen.
Yeah. No.
I
No.
just knew that it was the right thing to do. You take care of kids, your family lineage is important.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
things that I saw growing up, I knew that, boys need positive males in their life.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know, and I was striving to be that. But what I didn't know is that when I walk in that room with he and his wife to see that baby, he said, Coach, none of this wouldn't be if you wasn't the person that you was to me.
Wow. Beautiful story, and it's beautiful because a whole host of reasons. But what really jumps out to me is the fact that you did it for the right reasons. You didn't show love, compassion, grace to this young man in hopes of him giving your son a job. Like,
No,
we don't know,
I
what,
didn't know.
we had no clue. We don't know what's in our future
Yeah.
down our path. We know what's happening for us in the moment, and in that moment, you made some important steps to make that young man feel like, well, acknowledged, to be seen, to be respected, and to be loved. You gave him all of that through your actions, and I want to sort of highlight those four things I just identified because
Mhm.
all of that's within our grasp. We all can do that. And more importantly, we can do that effortlessly. It doesn't
Yes,
take a
sir.
whole lot, right?
It don't cost anything for
Not
that.
it's not, it's to be kind and show love is nothing.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now if you're coming at this from a sort of servant mindset approach, like you talked about early in the beginning, it's a piece of cake. It's nothing. It's
Yes,
easy,
sir.
right? Because that's part of it. It's all wrapped up in that package of what you offer people. Um, and I think that's what makes it beautiful because you're making a way of it's who you are. You're acting
Yes,
that
sir.
fashion, and as a result, here are the benefits.
Yes, sir. It was
Man,
and just as I heard you talk about that, it reminds me of too. I had people that came before me that did that to me.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
know what it feels like to receive that.
I always and I think every single person, if you were to say to them, who was your favorite teacher, they all can identify that one teacher that they would categorize as their favorite. And if you take
Yeah.
it a step further and say, well, why was this person your favorite teacher? You're going to hear things like they encouraged me, they showed me
Mhm.
love, they
Yes,
were
sir.
kind to me, right? It wasn't, well, Mr. Robinson was the best math teacher out there. No one knew math better than him. That's why he was my favorite, right? That might be why someone respects you, but in terms of why they love and appreciate you, it's these little things that we just talked about that
Mhm.
make a difference in people's lives that they remember. In fact, I may totally forget Mr. Robbins was a great math teacher because he knew his stuff, but the way he taught me and how he believed in me and how he encouraged me, that's what propelled me my entire life. And that's why,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so important that when you are, even when you're in a position, whether you're a teacher, you're a leader, you're a pastor, you're a podcast host. If you have the ability to leave something special and an imprint on people, and you have, and that's you've got that that option there to do so, then absolutely, I encourage individuals, take up that mantle and do what they got to do, because you are making a difference in people's lives.
Just say yes.
Yes. I love the way you summarize it, nice and clean. Just say yeah.
Yeah, man, just say yes. It'll set you up for ultimate success.
So on the topic of success, can we touch on, you said you have your podcast. I got to show some love to a podcaster. The Success Chronicles. What's that all about?
So what I do is just I interview people from all walks of life and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. And it's been a great journey. I've interviewed some super famous people. I've interviewed some people that would say regular people, but within that, like, I really just love having great conversations. I love learning. I love sharing knowledge. Um, I love learning from others' journeys, because I believe that, if we can learn from those that came before us and the people around us, it'll allow us to move more efficiently and effectively. And really that's what it's about, and that's what it's been.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's that's on YouTube, you said, right? You got that on YouTube?
Yes, sir. So the video form is on YouTube under Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles, and the audio form is on podcast platforms.
Gotcha.
So, any podcast platform you have, whatever your favorite is, you can search Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles.
Love it. I love it.
It's there.
Well, we're going to make a point of ensuring that's in the show notes for this episode.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That way people can find that easier and quicker and jump on your stuff and check it out. Chip, I got to thank you for doing this, man. This has been a blessed conversation. I can't tell you how inspired and excited I am at the same time for the work that you do. I know you're just getting started, really. I mean, there's so much to do, and to know that you've taken up that mantle, and you're encouraging people to go get it is a wonderful thing. So I want to congratulate you on finding your pathway. Congratulate you on living that, because it's one thing to find it, you still got to live it, and you've definitely done that. So congratulations, and thank you for being here on the Audacious Living Podcast, my friend. This has been awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate the honor. Huge shout out to Sharon Hughes for connecting us.
Yeah.
And making this happen. It's great when we started. I say this always a treat when the good guys get to meet, but it's always a blessing when great people see similarities and genuineness, connection, and so I'm truly grateful for that.
Yeah, no, definitely give Sharon a shout out. She was a guest. Excuse me, like I told you, we had a great interview on the podcast. And when we stopped, we ended. She's like, "I got somebody for you," and that was it. That was it. And here we are. So there we go. So shout out to Sharon. Thank you. Thank you again, Chip. Be well, my friend, and all the best.
All right, go get it.
Back we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes out to Chip for sharing his personal story, and he emphasized the importance of taking risks, learning from tough experiences, and helping others. The key takeaway is that our challenges and adversities can pave the way for our greatest growth and success. I would encourage you to check out Chip for more motivational insights, because he's all about motivation. It was great to have him. His podcast is The Success Chronicles. It's available on YouTube as well as various podcasting platforms, and of course, the contact details will be in the show notes below. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Audacious Living Podcast. If you enjoyed the value we shared or Chip's wisdom, please like, follow, subscribe, or share. If you haven't already done so, of course, this is how we're able to grow the podcast and help others, climb those mountains or face those challenges who are on their own pathway to greatness. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.